Hey guys, this is Lindsay Huddleston with Sports Psychology Solutions in the building, Spartan Stadium, in the press box, and looking forward to the start of the ASU Arizona State versus Michigan State game. Historic day. With this win, if Coach D'Antonio and the Spartans are capable, it'll be 110 wins, and Coach D'Antonio will pass Duffy Daugherty's all-time winning record. It's going to be a great thing. I look forward to discussing that in great detail post-game in our press pass preview with my broadcast partner, Mr. Jack Eblin. But I do not want to pass this other historic moment to talk about Duffy Daugherty. Many of them know him for his 2 national championships back-to-back, but Duffy Daugherty was indeed a pioneer at Michigan State. He was the first coach to recruit African-American players to come from the predominantly Southern dominant football programs where they weren't allowed to play based on segregation, and come north and play here. People like Bubba Smith and Gene Washington. Gene Washington's daughter, Maya Washington, has a documentary that talks about that experience. And I think we cannot separate this as being part of our national history, part of the history of college football. There's a great 150 years of college football program taking place on ESPN that goes and talks about the inception of college football and how players were actually dying on the field and how they worked through that. But as an African American male here, growing up in Detroit, parents from the South, to be able to talk about this, I think, is noteworthy, because the point I want to make is when Duffy Daugherty made the decision to bring these players here and desegregate college football, he didn't have a lot of supporters. He lost close friends, what I've been told, but he still went forward, and Michigan State became one of the most dominant football programs in the country, later leading to the trend of the Alabamas, of the other major programs, the Texases of the world, if you will, to start to recruit African-American players. The collateral damage from that was the fall of the HBCUs, the historically black colleges, universities, where these African-American athletes played, almost at one point selling out Yankee Stadium when you had Morgan State versus Grambling. But what I want to get at is, when you look at these things, you hear this history, many of us say, how could things have been that way? But I'm here to say, just make sure that as we're making these decisions and being people of influence, that you're not on the wrong side of history. People can easily look back and look at something, Michigan State being the gatekeeper for opportunities for African-American athletes, and that'd be just an amazing thing. But what about the things that are happening in corporate America right now? What about the things that are happening in other institutions of higher learning that affect minorities? What about how we're looking at the world as a whole as it relates to who's going to do the next thing going forward? So I think it's something worthwhile to keep in mind. I'm really happy for Coach D'Antonio. He's a no-flash kind of guy, but it seems like he's going to have a record that's probably going to stand for maybe a lifetime. Who knows? So with that, I want to thank you. I look forward to watching this game and reporting back to you really soon about the outcome if Coach D'Antonio gets win 110. But I would not want this moment to go by without recognizing the heroic effort of Coach Duffy Daugherty for bringing in African-American players, which led to a trend. And ironically, when desegregation took place, now the Alabamas of the world are now still the dominant football programs representing the South. Last 13, I believe, of the last 14 or 15 national championships were from the South. So that's a moment in history. So with that, I want to talk to you guys later. Appreciate you checking in, and have a great day, and let's see what's going to happen with this game.